Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back. It's Sunday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope everybody is well. Just make the list here. Oh, I'm a few minutes late. I apologize. I was making tea because I've had a headache. So I was hoping a little bit of the caffeine in it might help get rid of the headache. Let me take my phone out of my pocket. How is everyone? So I'm going to wait a few minutes. I'll make some announcements. So exciting. Let's see if anybody else has purchased. Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm okay today. So we had ice skating earlier, and they had their little evaluations to see because it's the last class in this session. And so one of my kids, they were in the beginners. And so one of them passed a level up to the next level and the other one didn't. That's okay. She was a little bummed, but then we were like practicing working. She was having fun and she kept falling today, but she was getting up and moving. And hi, Lexi, it's good to see you. So I told her, I was like, another one of our friends is going to put his daughter in. So she'll be in beginners with my youngest one. So that made her happier. And then my older one was like, you're not consoling me that I'm going to be by myself. I was like, well, you shouldn't have done so well. Hi, Autumn. Hi, Crystal. Oh, it's too hot to drink. So yeah, she'll get there next time. She's not that far off. She just, I think she's just not as, I don't want to say she's not as athletic. She's just not used to doing a lot of this stuff. So she'll get there. It took her longer. Like my other daughter was like comfortable, like right away without having to use a walker. Like I think she used a walker the first session and then that was it to like get to the ice roller. My littler one took her a while to get like more comfortable. So it was inevitable. It is what it is. It's not the worst thing in the world. To have to like work on something a little harder. Hi, Julie. Okay, so Crystal, these are paid readings. They're $12 a question, and there's 30% I donate to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. So you're more than welcome. Yeah, here, let me give you the. So right now I just have Regine. Hang on here. Let me give you the. I'm going to just get it off of another thing because for some reason whenever I type it, maybe it's my eyes. I always type it wrong or something. So let me just copy and paste it here from my description thing that I have. There you go. I'll pin that up there. And the only person here is Regine other than you that has paid for a reading. So I did it. I created a psychic development class. I put it all on my website. And I even took the time, like yesterday, I was like fiddling around with putting it into so I have like a booking system and I'm not like it. Do you know how like when you first look at something and you're like, this seems impossible. Like I can't figure it out. So I was determined yesterday, I like to do it through my booking system because then it sends out emails, and I like connected the Zoom links and everything else. So there is a psychic development circle starting April 12th. It's on Friday nights. It starts at 6:30 p.m. It will be over by 8 p.m. Eastern time. It is limited to 8 spots. So first come, first serve. It's $222 for the 5-week session. You will learn how to connect with your intuition. You will learn to give a reading. You will also receive readings. There's going to be little homework things for you to do. Okay, Julie, I'll check for it. Stop being so hot. All right, Julie, I got yours. Okay. So I'll add you to the list. What else is going on? I still have the one question readings. If you guys are like in the middle of the week and you want to ask a question, I do the email stuff. I wasn't as active on TikTok this week because one of my kids was home all week. She's little. And so she wanted me to sit with her all week, which means I got nothing done. I'm on TikTok. I've got a lot of videos, so I haven't done any lives on TikTok in a while. I will. I'm just trying to like figure out times that work well for it. For me, I would like to create more consistency for sure over there, but I'm really like focusing on just trying to create consistency on videos and content and show up, and then also maybe like transfer some of those over here onto YouTube, but we'll see. Okay, so Regine, you had questions about your health. I put Regine and then, sorry. I meant to hit Julie and then, waiting on yours, Crystal, okay? Okay, so Regine, you wanted to know about, I'm going to look at this again. Sorry. I want to make sure I'm reading it. Oh, okay. I was like, oh, what is that? Okay. Do you know what the parameters are for the one that you had that you said was a 12? Okay. Never mind. Got it. I just want to look up the medication you mentioned just because I'm curious about it because I'm getting another thing might be helpful, but oh, it's a GLT2 inhibitor. Okay. Hi, Julia. Okay. So I wasn't just like reading my phone. I was trying to look at because Regine is looking at some medical stuff, and then she's just sent me some information about tests that she had or whatever. And I was just curious what some of these were. I was not in nephrology or adult world, so I'm looking at frameworks so I understand what you're asking. By the way, congratulations on all of that weight loss. That is fabulous. That is, amazing. Have your feet been really swollen lately? My feet just feel really swollen. And I don't feel like that's an all the time thing. I just feel like maybe in the last month or so, I feel like they're really swollen. Yeah, swollen, but better than before. I also feel like your right great toe, so your big toe on your right foot, I don't know if you're having like neuropathy or what's going on with that one. And I feel like kind of pins and tingling in my next 3 toes, but not necessarily my pinky toe. And all of that, like I know that some of the stuff can cause that, but I feel like that's actually coming because of the pressure of your feet being swollen. So I feel like I didn't see this or not with the one medication you mentioned. I don't know how much you want me to share with people. So um the F1, not the T. I felt like with that, it takes like I didn't see what I was just looking at the type of medication it is. I have no idea. I am like I don't even know about very much about those medications, just to be very clear about my background on this one. But um I don't like I know with antidepressants, they take like, 4 to, around 4 weeks on average to really kind of hit their proper blood levels. And I feel like this one is like 6 weeks where it really starts working. Like it takes a little while for it to set in. Does 6 weeks make sense to you on that one? And I have to tell you, I think they're going to put you on another medication. I don't feel like, here's the thing. I don't feel like you're going to flip to dialysis yet. Um, what I feel like, so by yet, I don't mean like anytime in the near future. First of all, I think they'll put a fistula in for you if you do dialysis, but I feel like that's more down the way. Um, if that happens, it doesn't mean you can't turn it around. So that's it. It's like it doesn't feel like a guarantee for me, but I feel like they're going to put you on a second medication, and it might be like one of the newer GLP-1 type medications. And not necessarily because like, a lot of people are doing the GLP-1, it's like for insulin resistance and things like that. Well, I feel like you have a little bit of insulin resistance. I feel like your blood sugars are actually okay-ish. But I feel like it is more of a kidney issue, but they are finding that those ones help so much more. But I don't feel like it's either one that's just come out or that will come out. I don't think it's like it's not one of the ones that's like Mounjaro or Ozempic. It feels like it's a different one that'll be coming out. That will complement the other one that you're on right now. Yes, ma'am.
Do you want a little talk?
I am doing a little talk, doing some readings. What's up?
Oh, this is a read?
Yeah, I'm doing my 4 o'clock on Sundays like I always do.
You didn't say that.
I'm sorry. I said I'm going to go down and do my readings, and you were sort of involved in, I don't know, drinking your hot cocoa.
I
love you.
Love you too, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
What does this say?
It says studio, and that says live, and that's 14 minutes, 15, 17 seconds. How many seconds? And this is how many people and how many likes. And this is how they're talking over there. Hang on, guys. Hi, Ellie. So can I finish doing these readings, please?
Okay.
What do you need? You want me to come up and snuggle? I know. But this is my Sunday thing, so I'll be up after it. And the more you interrupt and the longer you're here, the longer it takes me to get up there to snuggle.
Mom?
Yes, ma'am.
When are you going to come off?
I don't know. We just have to see how many people ask questions.
Mm.
Okay. I love you, Buggy. Thank you for your patience. I know it's hard sometimes. I'm not going to snuggle right now. She knows this is my Sunday thing. This is okay for mom to do some things for mom too. It's okay for me to take time to do things for me. That's okay. Trust me, it's okay. Holy jeez, this is hot. Ooh, okay. So I feel like something around 6 weeks. Have you noticed a difference with the medication? Believe me, I've been snuggling with her all week because she's been home. So she's my snuggly kid. She could snuggle with me. She could if she could just crawl back in, she probably would. When she was born, they put her on my chest and she fell asleep immediately. She was like, ugh. And the nurse was like, oh, and I was like, no, she's sleeping. She's good. The numbers are down not yet. The numbers are down since the medication, but they're supposed to go back up, right? Because we want those numbers to go up, not down. So I feel like it'll be, hello. I feel like it'll be just a little bit more on that one. You'll have some improvement with it, but I feel like they're going to end up going with adding a different medication into it. So what's interesting is normally they say with swelling, you should drink water, but with kidney stuff, you really have to be careful how much you're drinking. So I just feel like it's really important for you to elevate your feet to help with some of the swelling. And also, this is weird, but doing lymphatic massage feels important. So look on YouTube and look at lymphatic massage. These are paid questions. They're $12 a reading, and I donate 30% of the money to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. So if you would like a reading, I would be happy to give one. You just have to pay for it. Crystal, yours didn't come through yet. Did you hit send? So I don't feel like it's, I feel like your weight loss is going to continue to happen, and that's going to help. And overall, if you can eat for insulin resistance, eat really, really clean up your diet a lot. And eating, focusing on your fiber and your protein and stuff. It's even though you're not diabetic, I feel like eating as if it's not even just for oh, I need to lose weight or whatever. It's just for cleaning up anything that causes any kind of inflammation or whatever, just because it really helps your body. And getting good sleep, doing all of those things. They sound so simple and stupid because you're well, it's, my kidneys are failing. But it just feels like anything that you can do to allow your body as much rest and recovery is best. I love to say, it's not like I see you turning it all the way around to be totally healed, but I do see it getting better. And it feels like there'll be another medication added in that will help it. Okay, I just can't even handle it anymore. I was cold when I came down here, and now I'm like, you're welcome, hon. Crystal, are you still here? Did you hear my comment about I didn't get the payment? Did you maybe, let me see if you sent it to my other account maybe. Okay, what's your You'll ask the second question later. Okay, sounds good. Julie, let me check your question. It was something about a surgery, I think. Will the spine surgery or hip surgery help the most with walking without feeling like my leg is going out? Nope. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? You'll ask the second question later. Okay, sorry. Okay, Julie. So when I read that, so Crystal, if you're still here, I did not get a payment on either account. Are you here? Wait, Julie, for your surgeries. It's interesting because what I feel is like there is two things happening there. Like there is a nerve issue that's coming from the spine, but I also feel like there's like a pinching of the ligament or something like that, where I just feel like, because it doesn't feel like, or something with the tendon pinching, because it doesn't, so it looks like, when you have like a turkey, the tenders, and it's got that little like silvery tough thing in there. I think that's part of a tendon. But it feels like there's that, and it's like, if there's the way they're showing to me is like that's pinching somehow. And that's kind of what's causing like the give out. But I also feel like you get like a little nerve, like of pain, and that feels like there's might be like a little bit of a pinched nerve. But I feel like I'm kind of feeling like if they did the hip thing, that would relieve the spine thing. I don't know if that makes any sense, because I am not a doctor. So I can only tell you what I'm saying, and it's not to be replaced for medical knowledge by any means. Have they done an MRI on your hips? Guessing it's your lumbar slash. Okay, Adam, I saw it. I mean, I didn't see the payment, but I saw the message. Got the payment. Hello, Julie, are you here? Are you here? I'm talking to myself. Anyone? Anyone? Is there an extreme time delay? They did an MRI for the spine. Did they do one for your hip? Like, have you gone to an orthopedist and seen, like, asked about your hip? And if there's like a ligament issue or something pinching? I don't even know if that makes sense for the ligament to be pinched. They don't know what you need done first. Well, my sense is, and this could be, maybe you need to get a second opinion for the orthopedist. My sense is that relieves the spine stuff. You might not even need to have something done with your spine. So get a second opinion, and did they tell you, like, is it a ligament issue in your spine or in your hip? Did they tell you anything? And I know it can be pricey to go find somebody else. I don't mean, or sometimes your insurance are a-holes because, let's face it, they're not in the business of making anybody better. All they want is to fatten their pockets. But the greed is real in the healthcare system. I think you're behind. To pull you up to speed here. You're definitely falling behind. Yeah, I would drag if you can. So I'll leave you with that because I don't know. That's my sense. If you want to clarify her with that, that's fine. Autumn, if you want to ask your question. It feels like a ligament too, but nobody mentioned it. My physical therapist recommended getting a second opinion. That's what I said to do. Get a second opinion. And maybe you need like an MRI of your hip, or I don't know if it would show up on an ultrasound. I have no idea. But it's like, I feel like you need another evaluation that if it's a ligament, it feels like it's pinching. So the way they're showing it to me is like, I'm seeing like the pelvic bone and the ball and socket of the femur, right? And it feels like it's like pinched between the two somehow. I don't know how that works. I'm truly not that versed in anatomy. Your physical therapist would understand that more than I would. They study the musculoskeletal system like insanity. So all right. Autumn, what's your question? And then Regine, if you have another one. Otherwise, we can go to just general readings if you guys want to. Oh, got Autumn's. Okay. Okay. Will you date Andrew soon? Not a doctor at all, but do have a hip problem. I have an FAI impingement, and it's right where you described it. Oh, okay. So maybe that's what you have. Does that ever cause your leg to go out? Like where you feel like does that ever cause that, what Julie described before? And truly, when somebody has an issue, like there are times where like my patients would come in when I had, babies. So I was closer with their families. But if they had something like kind of rare, or like I'd be like, and even if they didn't, I'd be like, what do you do with this? Like, how do they respond? What is this? What is that? Because you know yourself better than anybody else. Like, you know your kid better than anybody else, kind of thing. Does it cause your leg to kind of like buckle, Autumn? Julie, what did you mean by your leg giving out? Like your leg, you can't bear weight on it, or? I sent my N-400 form for naturalization out this week. Do you see me becoming an American citizen before November? I would love to vote. Help us out. Hold on, because my hurts, feels stuck sometimes, and I have a bit of a waddle walk going on when it starts to really hurt. So we just have to be patient because Julie's really kind of behind. She hasn't dragged the line to catch up with us. So there we go. It can be fine 1 minute, and the next it feels like I can't walk on one side. I bet that is the same thing. So I would get a second opinion and get a better imaging of your hip, because if they haven't done one of your hip, how would they know it needs surgery? Like, that seems really sketched to me personally. So I would get that done. And then my feeling is if you release that impingement is is exactly what I was saying. That's a medical word for it. So if it is that impingement, it feels like if you release that, it fixes the spine stuff. Because like if something's pulling, it's going to kind of pull in your spine too. So look at me seeing an x-ray in my mind's eye. So I would do that, is get a second opinion with a better imaging, or an imaging of your hip. And don't go to somebody if they're going to say you need surgery but not do an imaging. That's like fukakta. Like, you don't want to go to them anyway. Go get a second opinion with and get an MRI. And I think your physical therapist may be even able to order the MRI on the hip. I'm not 1,000% certain on that one, so don't quote me, but I do have back pain from time to time, so it might be just your hip. Yep. Like she said, and I'm not a doctor, so get a second opinion. Yeah. So you're not, okay, so here's the thing. It's like, there can be things that going on, like you may not be a doctor, but you may have stuff going on with yourself where somebody has something similar and you're like, oh, that sounds like this, might be worth getting checked out. So, and again, she couldn't get the surgery unless she had a diagnosis anyway. So she'd have to go see a doctor. But I say, go get a second opinion and get somebody who's going to actually image it, because that's like, me as a nurse, I'd be like, oh no, you're not allowed to go back to them. Like, and I mean, I did do a lot of patient advocacy for people that weren't my patients. Like I had a mom that was, her C-section was dehiscing and starting to open up. And because she was, Spanish speaking, and I don't know if she was documented or not, which who cares really, but she told me her doctor told her something like she needed to pay $700 cash up front to be seen again. And I was like, no. So we're going to call and we're going to file a complaint with patient relations, and we're going to get this taken care of because you deserve care. Oh, only a doctor can order the MRI. Okay. Thanks for the notification. I know your chiropractor could. Ask them to have you tested for an RFA. I work in orthopedics office, but you need an MRI for that. Beautiful. So go to somebody. Look at perfect. Thank you, Regine. Need surgery, but casually avoiding it. I did get multiple opinions first, though. Fabulous. Look at this. Pooling knowledge. Love it. So write down what Regine said and find yourself a doctor who's going to do that and tell them, like, kind of describe it the way what they feel like. I bet they'd be able to figure it out. It's so strange to me when people who are specialists and they refuse to listen to somebody about their body or pain sucks. Just pain sucks. So I'm glad this was helpful for her. Okay. So that was Julie. Autumn, your question was, let's focus on you now. About Andrew. And then we're going to focus on, so I think you're going to see movement in like 6 weeks time. So I know it feels like a while, but I think a lot of that my sense is a lot of that has to do with your mindset from one hip pain girly to another. Okay. Sorry, I've had a headache all day and I just think it's because I restarted one of my, I take this thing to help bring down protein for my histamine intolerance issues. And I had run out of it. Anyway, so I think I've had it from that. So why I think the 6 weeks is really because I feel like you're going to really work on your manifesting. And manifesting, listen, you need to change the way you're doing it, because I feel like it's like, oh, I'm seeing myself with him, but there's not this belief that you're valuable or worthy or enough, right? So it feels like needing to go back into the core belief system of I am. So of course he chooses me. Of course he wants to be with me. Of course he's attracted to me. Of course he thinks I'm amazing and wonderful. Because I am amazing and wonderful. I am deserving of a relationship. It feels like going into the core of that will help you see movement in 6 weeks. Oh, because I'm usually like 6 months. No, I think it'll be quicker, but because I think you're going to actively do it. So the thing that also that people don't realize with, okay, I'm like, I've got all these things I want to share. I'll say this. The thing that I think people don't realize when they're doing manifesting is you don't have to have a feeling. You have to have a decision that, like, no, this is how it is. And it is a practice. And it is about, just like when you're building muscles and you're losing weight and you're learning a new instrument or a new language. It isn't about going, well, I practice it for like 2 times a week and like it's not working. I'm not like a professional yet. Or like, I've only been playing for you. Like, you would never start and play an instrument for 2 months and be like, well, I've been playing for 2 months. Why am I not a professional yet? Like, why isn't it here? Because you have to work on it. Or I don't know if you talk like that, quite frankly. I would hope not. But so like, it is a consistent practice, and your mindset will, like, there's times where I'm like, I've really worked on my self-concept, but then there's new stuff that comes up where I'm like, oh, that's what that is. Like, so I'm in a coaching group and I like, one of the things they brought up, which I thought was really interesting, was like, how can you expect to have, like, show up and have people want to watch your videos or do that stuff, like, or like creating an energy around you of being magnetic, if you're not even willing to celebrate yourself, like if that feels uncomfortable and strange. So to me, it was like, okay, Crystal. So to me, it's more about like, so I went and started looking back at past things. I think that you're okay. I got you, Crystal. I got you. So like, I never had a party as a kid. I had like I never had like a friend birthday party. I had like big family parties when I was really little before my parents got divorced. And then my mom would always like make a special meal or whatever, but I never had any friends ever. Like, remember one specifically was my sister's friends were there. Which not to be like begrudge that or anything. It was just like, I didn't have that stuff. My parents got divorced when I was pretty young. My mom, we didn't have a lot of money. Never was I in like any kind of extracurricular activities where it like wasn't allowed to play soccer or anything. We couldn't afford it. Wanted to do dance. Hi, KK. So it's like, I was like, oh, so, and then like with having birthdays or having people celebrate me, you've seen this on here too, where it's like, Julie had said like, can we take a moment and honor her? And I was like, okay, let's keep moving. Like, I kind of like glaze over stuff because it's a little uncomfortable. So I was like, oh, that's really sad. Like my parents actually, both my parents at a point have forgotten my birthday, like as a kid, like both of them several times, several birthdays where I was forgotten. So like I look at all where it starts, I'm like, oh, that's really sad actually, because I would never let that happen to my kids. And like I should be able to celebrate and do those things, right? Sorry, I'm so hot. So it's looking at things of like, it's not that you necessarily don't have a self-concept or whatever, but there's still going to be deep inner stuff. It can be related to that. Yeah. Feeling accomplished can be related to that. And it's also like, what does accomplished mean to you? Right. And how does that show up? So what I'm saying is like, go in and just really understand that it's like, oh, it's becomes an observational practice of figuring out like, why do I feel triggered here? What could that have come from? Like doing it without shame. And not feeling bad about yourself because you're not like getting it right away. So paying attention to what follows I am. What's your natural response to something when it happens? Are you hard on yourself about it? Are you forgiving? Are you just like, oh, like, of course I didn't get that because X, Y, and Z. Because when you're really hard on yourself and like when you refuse to look at it, I think that's what people worry about. Like, I mean, I went through a grieving process that when we talked about this and it kind of came up and I was like, oh, I didn't talk about it. Like it came up like in the group and I was just listening. And I kind of went through a grieving process for a few days afterwards of like, oh, that really sucks. Like that's where that comes from. And then it's affected me in so many different ways. But it's not like I'm like, oh, I hate my parents. It's just like, well, that's unfortunate. Like it sucks. It's hurtful. It's not necessarily technique, because here's the thing about those techniques, all of them work. It's a way of like figuring out hacking your brain. But the thing that I've figured out the most is it's really like going in and healing that stuff and looking at it and going, oh, it's coming from somewhere. You will probably always refine and fine tune things, but you kind of do that when you learn a language. I've done that when I've learned and connected with my psychic abilities. Like I had some natural ability and then I practiced and I looked and it's like, and my abilities have changed over the years. I did not nearly do as much medical intuition or mediumship, and the mediumship like took me a while to kind of connect into. And it's not that it's any different. It's just a process. You can post now, Crystal. It's fine. So it's not necessarily a technique. It's a deciding to be tenacious and say like, this is how I am. This is who I am. I had a thing come up. So like, I've been doing like a health and weight loss type thing and working on that and like seeing myself differently. And last night I had a dream where in that dream, somebody that I grew up with was like, oh, you've gotten heavy again. And I was like, I realized when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, that's like that old part of me still wanting to stay there because it's safe there. Like now I'm like manifesting to show up in a really fit, trim, lean body because I know that that's where my body naturally wants to be. It's what I was when I was a kid. And I know people are like, oh, well, that's when you were a kid. It's like, but my body, even after I had gotten, gone through puberty and stuff like that, was naturally thin. It started shifting when I started eating things that were absolutely not good for somebody with histamine intolerance. And because a guy said to me that I was too skinny. I was real thin. And I was like, I took that to heart because I was so insecure and I was so like from all of my family stuff, I was like, I wasn't certain of myself. It's like I always just thought somebody outside of me knew better because I came from something where I was like basically raising myself and had no idea that, my various family members letting me know I was an idiot. And I wasn't, my one sister was like, you're not allowed to an opinion now that you live with dad. Like there's just a lot of really fucked up stuff. So I was not certain of myself. So somebody else's opinion outside of me held so much weight. Right. So I look at that. It's like, it sucks that it happened, but you know what? I'm moving on. I'm moved on and I'm piecing things together. And I'm like, oh, well, it doesn't mean that you can't heal from it. Like it's unfortunate those things happen, but part of the human experience is, I think the only reason for our experiences are to learn to love ourselves and to expand and heal and grow. And this is part of my expansion process. I can't expand without figuring out the things that are contracting everything. I don't think he meant it in a horrible way at all. I just think he was being a dumb 14 or 15-year-old kid. Like, that's it. Like, I don't think his intention was like, I'm going to destroy you. Okay. Crystal, I'll focus on you for a second and then we'll go back to the manifesting stuff because I think it's important. I've been listening to a lot of Neville Goddard again lately and looking at it differently, really, truly with the idea of like everything is created within me. I really don't like calling anything God anymore because I think that relates to this idea that it's something outside of me that creates things when your God particle is here. It's here or here. Pick your, whichever you pick. Okay. I want to know, will my ex-husband Johnny and his new wife Gigi marriage last for how long? Because he tried to send my sister and brother a friend request on Facebook. I told him not to accept it because he didn't want us to get a divorce. So I feel he remarried her out of spite towards me. And he always acts on Facebook like he is so happy and she is the best thing that happened to him in his life. I have to ask you because you're a medium and you can see far out. I said, let me ask a question on him because me. Okay. I move on out of hurt towards me. Okay. Can I ask you a question about this? Are you asking this because you want to get back with him or I'm just curious what the intention is. And then I'll tell you what I think of him and the timeline. There's something about 8 years with them. So I don't know if they've been married 8 years or asking because I do miss my husband and I feel like we are supposed to have been together. Gotcha. So I feel like they'll be together for a while longer. I don't know that you'll get back together. We were middle school and high school sweethearts. You were married for 7. How long have they been married? Because I still see I see more years for them. They've only been married for 8 months. Oh, okay. So that would fit the 8 for me because I still see some years ahead of them, to be honest with you. So maybe another 8 to 10 years. I don't feel like this ends for them like quickly, like you wanted to. Here's the thing about him. He's kind of one of these guys who I think he's actually happy, but he also likes to emotionally manipulate people, right? It's also this, like, I don't think his marriage is horrible. Like, I don't think his new wife is horrible. I think he's kind of a dud. I don't want to say that. Like, I know you still care about him, obviously, but it's this feeling of, and I've dated a guy like this. I know people like this. where it's like they feel sorry for themselves, like, "Oh, I wish I had that." Like, I dated a guy who would literally, like, be like, "I wish I would have ordered that plate." Like, there was nothing wrong with our relationship. Um, and we were in San Francisco visiting his brother, and then we were gonna go further north and go camping, um, in Muir Woods, and he was like, "Oh, I think about, like, his ex-girlfriend. I think about her all the time. I really miss being with her." Well, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, who does that?" And I just got tired of the Eeyore energy, and I feel kinda like your ex has this kinda Eeyore energy about him. Kind of a, like, doesn't recognize what he has when he has it. Um, and I know that you love him, but there's a feeling of me of almost being like that I'm getting it's almost being like I'm so used to it, I'm so comfortable with it, and not realizing that there's a healthier love out there for you. You can manifest whatever you want. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe that. The biggest part of that is that you have to work on what follows I am, your self-worth, your value, all of that stuff, because you can visualize and manifest him in, but if you don't feel like you're valuable and worthy and deserving of having him there, um, it'll end again. She's not a horrible person. I have to say this. Like, I don't feel like, and I don't feel like you're a horrible person. I kind of feel like he's what do you call it? Bare minimum kind of guy. I really do feel like he took you for granted. 1,000%. Like, there was no doubt in my mind about that. Now I'm cold. Like, get it together, body. Um, I turned the heater off now. Put this back on. So I don't think it's like, oh, it's just because, like, I feel like it's his personality to not appreciate what's in front of him. She got 5 kids, but I don't think they will have any. I feel like there might be one because I see a little girl. So it might even be, I have to say this, it might not even be like she might not actually have the baby, but she might get pregnant. Um, I don't know that she'll go through with it, but it's like I see maybe a pregnancy. Okay. She lost a little girl with him because I even felt, I didn't say this, but I did feel a pregnancy around her, like recent or upcoming. I'm not saying that she'll decide to have it. She may not when she's 45. To each their own. I don't know what state you live in. I don't know if it's possible um, for her to not have it. Okie dokie. Oh, you did post for the naturalization. Thank you. I don't know if you'll get it by November. I have to be honest. When did you put it in? Because to me, it feels like it's a year from whenever you put it in. And I feel like it's like the way it goes through the assembly line. I don't feel like you'll have it by November. But remember, local elections are really, really important too. Even your school board elections. I don't think he'll walk away from her. I think she'll walk away from him. Okie dokie. I don't think we have anybody else who's gotten a reading. So, oh, wait. Why can I not think of your screen name? I see you here. Raka, there you are. I was like, Autumn, every time I see your last name, I love it. He'll get a job. I feel like he'll and then I can't answer any more of your questions because this is way more than one. Okay. I feel like he gets like an apprenticeship. There's somebody who does apprenticeships for people to get them back on their feet. I feel like that's what he'll do. And it'll be something like a trade. So like plumbing or electrician or something like that. Okay, Rothko, what's your question? And then we'll do some like general questions or whatever. We're looking at buying houses. Yay, figuring everything out. We wanted to put a bid on one tomorrow and aren't sure if there are things we need to figure out on our end. Tax authority compliance stuff. So you want me to look at like, are you buying in another country? Oh. Curious if there's any guidance. If you see a timeline, we better come back and visit you, turkey butt. You better be. Rothka is the reason I do readings. So, okay. Curious if there's any guidance, if you see a timeline or one we're thinking about tomorrow is going to be the one we end up with or not. Back and forth a lot. Okay. Of course, I want you to be happy and have the house of your dreams and all of that stuff. Like, I would not begrudge you that. I just better get to still see you. Hi, Cindy. How are you? Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to turn this down a little bit so I may be a little darker. I hope you won't mind. Just my eyes. It's so easy to get away from 3 children and fly across the world. But I appreciate. I will keep the offer in mind. I can't even come downstairs for an hour without someone coming and be like, "What? Will you come snuggle me?" Okay. Let me look at this house. Can you do me a favor on this house? Will you, because I want to give it a name. So will you just give me do you mind, is it too much to say like just the street name, not at whatever it is, but just so then it gives me a name to like associate with this house. Okay. Is it white? Rubbing my nose. It's white. Okay. Uxbridge. There's an issue with the plumbing, and it feels like there's a bathroom in the front of the house. There's an issue there. So it may not be like that the bathroom is directly in the front of the house, but it feels like the bathroom that's going to be towards the front of the house. I just feel like there's some kind of, it feels like it might give you some wiggle room for negotiations. Oh, it's Ambersley. That doesn't matter. I just needed to give it a name. So Ambersley. So I feel like there's an issue there. There's nothing wrong with the tree. I'm just mentioning the tree because they're showing it to me. There's a tree in the front of the house, and there's some kind of fruit or something hanging on it. There's like a tag or something on it too. Oh, that's weird. If you're looking at the house, there's an issue on the right front corner so if you're facing it, it's going to be your right side front corner. It's like, I know this sounds dumb, but there's like a weird energy vortex. It feels like, so it would feel like if there's going to be a problem in the house, it's going to be in that corner of the house. So there might be, maybe the drainage spouts aren't right, or there's like the flashing's not right or whatever. And so it's draining, not the water coming off the roof isn't draining right. So I feel like if you go with this one, there's going to be a little bit more work on it to do. I also feel like this is a house selling because somebody old is moving out or just passed. So there is some wiggle room for negotiations. I don't know what the law, you're in a totally different country. I can tell you what the laws are here. It's an estate sale house. Okay, perfect. So there's room for wiggle room. I do feel like you need to have like some kind of inspector or somebody with you that can say like, it just feels like if you're going to put in on this, understand that there is going to be some work to get it to where it's in a good condition. And it doesn't feel neglected on purpose because the rest of the house feels okay. It just feels like didn't know. Okay. It doesn't feel like a crotchety old person that lived there. She feels pretty nice. I could hear her feet shuffling on the like slippers on the floor. And she kind of like rocked when she would walk a little bit, kind of this little back and forth sway. It definitely needs to be aired out a little bit. Like you're going to be tearing out the carpet or whatever is in there, like kind of redoing the floors and stuff, just to freshen it up a little bit and update it. So I'm going to say this. I don't know if this is the one. It could be because I feel, obviously it could be, right? It feels like if you're willing to do the work, this is the one. I don't get the sense that other things will go wrong. We'll be able to put in a bid. No, you'll be able to put in a bid. That doesn't feel like anything. And I don't feel like there's going to be like other, like, so first of all, just becoming a homeowner, you understand that like there are upkeep things. Like we moved into our house and, there's something every year where we have to just like, we're probably going to do our roof this summer, or last summer we did, our HVAC unit because it was from 1989. So we got a good use out of it. it's a nice size yard, and I feel like it's got a lot of like it has nice energy. Like I don't feel bad about it when I look at it. I'm not like, ugh. I feel like outside is so nice. I feel so happy outside there. But I just see these things that are like things that need to be looked at. Like the right front corner of the house is where I'm like, um, might require a little bit more work. But is it impossible to do? Is it like the work? No. I mean, it's part of like dealing with upkeep of a home and moving into a home where an older homeowner had lived and maybe um, couldn't do the things. I also wouldn't be surprised if she had had a cat. So those are the only things. Like I wouldn't necessarily be deterred. It's just like this is work. There's something about that bathroom though. Like I can't quite figure it out because I can't. It's like I don't know if there's a hole. Like, but the way I'm seeing is like the toilet with like a hole. Like a hole. I don't know if there's a hole in the wall. There's something there that where it's like that. That's going to need to be redone. Um, and then that right front corner of the house. So I don't know if it's like the flashing's not right or the gutters are leaking and that's causing kind of runoff to go underneath the roof or something like that, the eaves. There's something there. And the only reason I know these that kind of things like the flashing and eaves and stuff is now because my husband's in construction because he has nothing to do with any of the home repairs I have to take care of, hiring and all of that. It's because we need our roof done. And that's why. Okay, so there's a front bathroom. This all makes sense to me, but I feel like the rest of it's okay. But I feel like there might be a little bit of a like cat smell or something to it. There's something like the smell needs a good airing out. So, and I feel like you'll have the steps. It's not going to be anything like so surprising. Like, oh my god, I would have never expected this. And yeah, when I look at the picture, I can get a better feeling for it. Okay. It's really cute yard for sure. It's like got a cute little quaint. You're very welcome. Okay, so if you guys want to ask some general questions, go for it. I'll make sure nobody else paid for personal or private, their own.
Gotten a divorce.
Whoa! Push the wrong button. Sorry, didn't mean to scare anybody. I'm from the UK, Rothcott. I'm Worcestershire. How do you say it? Worcestershire? It's a wonderful place to live. I'm in Scotland, so 300 miles. Wait, is that where you're looking at? No, I thought you were in South Africa. No? No. Okay, I didn't think so. I was like, wait a minute. Did you move again? Okay, Jimmy Hoffa. I seriously feel like he was buried in cement. I cannot. Like the minute I read that, I saw like just feeling like being buried in cement. Like I don't think they'll ever find him. Or I almost feel like he wasn't buried in one place. I feel like he was spread apart. And there was something really fucked up and symbolic about the way they did it too. Like they took his fingers or something first. Like it's really Oh, similar place names. Gotcha. So it feels like I don't think they'll ever find him. And I think that's intentional. And hello, Devery. Nice to see you. What's my thought on Tony Robbins? Is he legit? So I think a lot of people are, okay, let me reset this. I think he teaches the idea of, essentially like empowerment and um, mindset and stuff like that. The way he goes about it, I'm not fully a fan of, because like when he does these audience things, I feel like there's been times where and I haven't paid much attention to him lately, other than like, I wouldn't trust him in a personal sense. Like, not like, I'm trying to be tactful. It's He comes from a very, he might disagree if I said this, that I think there's some internalized misogyny that he has, and some like, but when he like stands people up, I think he puts them in a vulnerable position and doesn't really support them the right way, and some might cause more damage. Do I think that you could learn something from a book? Sure. Would I go to one of his events? Mm-mm. I have reservations about him for sure. But I also think that even when you have reservations about somebody, you can learn something from them. I don't think it's a total lost cause. I think when I was more vulnerable and less certain of who I was, I definitely would have gravitated towards something like that, somebody like him, thinking he was somehow wiser than me or must have known more. I don't know. It's not like I'm like it's like with the Abraham Hicks stuff. I think there's a lot of good wisdom in the reading and the books of it. I try not to get caught up in a lot of those big group things. I went to one of her day things when it was in Westchester, New York. And I went with a couple people, one person I knew, and then her friend. And it had a weird culty vibe to it that I didn't like. It really kind of went, I don't really like this part of it. She definitely channels beings, and there's one I don't really fully love that she channels. And there's like 9 of them. I don't know how many she says she has, but I felt 9. But there's like a weird culty, like, yes, we're all here. Oh my God. And like all speaking in unison is like sort of creepy to me. It just gives me a really like not so great vibe. That's okay, Julia. So here's what I'll say is, for Devery, I got yes, for sure on that one, on the Al Capone being behind the hit for the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I would say trust your intuition about it. I don't think you always have to know why you don't feel right about something, just to be like, I'm not in alignment with that, and that's okay. Again, there's just things about him where I just feel like there's some misogynistic kind of tendency. Like I'm really veering away from any white male guru. And I'm really like at this point in my life trying to like veer away from any male gurus, or putting them on some sort of pedestal about how wise and wonderful they are, because I feel like they're still coming from a patriarchal view and can't fully embrace the experience of a woman, or what this world is experienced as a woman. And so their spiritual practices or how they approach things are going to be in from a very patriarchal view, right? Like, oh, we must all sit on a mountain and meditate. And how many women do you think can go and do that? Because in this society within it, women have been historically the, homemakers and the caregivers and the raiser of the children. And you can't walk away from that, and you can't meditate for hours on end because, hello, I came down here for an hour and 15 minutes, and like 10 minutes in, my daughter was like, hey, can I come in, and why don't you get off now? It's not that there's not a place for them. I think that there's a shifting, though, that's coming in where it's just going to be a little different. So I don't think he's horrible, but he's also has some problematic things. I'm going to be honest with you. Like he's got and you can look this up. He's got a history of some weird stuff with some of his staff, and just some like not great things with some of his, and like, I also think, I can't remember if this is true for him or not, but like a lot of those people who do those big things, they have volunteers who come in, like work their, whatever you call them, not exhibits, but get together things. And like, they don't pay people. So they're just making a shit ton of money, and they're not paying people. And there is a lot of emotional manipulation and stuff that happens within that, because when you start to go into, like, when you start connecting with your spirituality, or you start looking at like your self-concept and wanting to create the life that you have, you're at a vulnerable place. And in that vulnerability, you can latch onto somebody and be easily manipulated and taken advantage of. And I think that he kind of does that. There's also a show business, to their job. So the PR companies have a lot of influence on these coaches. Yeah. So I'm just leery about a lot. Thank you for that insight. So I don't want to say like, oh, he's all bad, but there's just some stuff that it's not like, doesn't sit well with me. So it's like, read a book, read one of his books, and take what you can from the book. If you want to learn something, and get it from the library. Because it's free-ish, right? Free-ish, because your taxes pay for the library. So you're paying for it, but and like, I like Neville Goddard a lot, but there's some stuff in there where I'm like, because he died in 1920, like, okay, he uses the N word, and he calls, but not with the E and the gr, and like, that was commonplace back then. I get that. So I always like kind of put that side. But I think it's interesting the way he talks about it, because he talks about the Bible and like how that's actually like the coded part of it. And I find that fascinating. But so it's like, there's not going to be one person that's perfect, right? Because we're human. So what can you take from it and learn from it? And like, can you leave the rest? And if they're not so problematic, if they're really problematic, then don't have anything to do with them. Like, but like, I think that's how people get into Scientology and get into like the culty type things, because they're so vulnerable. People, when they're searching religion and things like that, it's because they're in a really tough spot. Most people don't run out in religion and become super uber religious if everything's perfect in their life. Let's be honest. Most people don't come for readings for me if everything, like, I have rarely had anybody be like, well, my life is perfect, but I'd like a reading. The Isha Foundation and Sadhguru. I just want to look at it. I worry about anything. Like, I'm always red flag about anything where we like someone where someone is almost deified. This guy. Okay. So I literally just heard problematic, but I don't know how. So it doesn't mean that somebody, all I say is like, if you're learning from someone, if you're choosing someone to be some sort of mentor, just take their wisdom and knowledge, but don't deify them. So for him, there's some problematic stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't want to look too far into it. And also, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have some kind of wisdom to share. It just means don't stick him on a pedestal and worship him. Because the truth is if your inner being is like, we all have God within us, right? If that is, and if we are able to connect, and the more that you do the I ams, the more that you focus on what follows I am, the more that you focus on building up your own self-concept, the more comfortable and stronger your connection will be with your intuition, because you'll feel like, oh, this is that. The less you necessarily need to turn up to somebody else. But those people can offer messages. Like if you're looking for clarification, that might be the thing that comes through and clarifies the thoughts that you were having about something. But that doesn't mean that they're any better than you. That's why I like worry about, because some people are like, oh my God, they're so wise, they're so this, they're so that. It's like, you could be that too. Like they are just people that they're just choosing that as a specialty. Like, I don't know, do you worship your amazing mechanic that way? Probably not. Do you get anything about the plane situation going on at present? The main whistleblower apparently. Oh, that man was fucking murdered. Like, he was killed. That was not a self-inflicted wound. Like, yeah. They did not do a very. Here's the problem. A lot of these companies are like, God dang it, with the social media and giving everybody all the information all the time. I mean, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a duck. Yes, I know it's Boeing. I'm not going to say I think Boeing's going down. There's going to be major changes by 2028 for them. I also feel like there's going to be changes from the top up, like the CEO, all those people will be changing within the next, I wouldn't be surprised in the next 6 months. And there's going to be some overhauls happening. Hi, Makiken. Blanca Sensori with Kanye for publicity money, or is it really love? It's some kind of contract. I don't think it's money. I mean, I don't think it's love. So it's some kind of contractual agreement. And I don't know if it's like, and it doesn't have to be like they literally signed a contract, but it's a feeling of like, it's not love. There's definitely money involved in it. Any thoughts on the TikTok ban? This is not psychic. I saw somebody say something that it's not going to happen, and I don't think it will happen. First of all, I'm baffled. Like, I was thinking about it, I'm like, how are we able to be like, how do you say to somebody, you have to divest from this company? Like, you have to sell your part in it. That is so crazy to me that we can look at something and do that. That's crazy to me. It's not going to go through. And I think somebody I saw something somewhere that said the Senate has to be unanimous. So even if one person opposes it, and Ron Paul, which I don't like Rand Paul, but holy shit, when I listened to him talk about it, I was like, how am I agreeing with you on this? like it's such his explanation for why it doesn't go through was so rational. I am appalled. I'm appalled that I heard Marjorie Taylor Greene say something where I was like, that actually sounds really rational. And oh my God, why am I agreeing with you? It's a lot of the AIPAC lobbying. And there's somebody that supports Rand Paul. And I can't remember who this guy is, but is opposed to TikTok sale too. I can't remember who it is. But I don't think it'll go through. It's a big nothing burger. It's a ploy for, again, there's a lot of weird shit going on. I mean, and honestly, they're both the same team. At this point, I'm so annoyed with all of our politicians, and God, I really, really wish Nancy Pelosi would retire. I wish all of these people, where you just can see every joint and arthritic movement in their joints. If they're that pronounced, they just need to be retired. It's just, um, half of them don't even understand technology or a PDF or anything like that. So it's just, they need to go away. And it's not like Nancy, and also Nancy Pelosi and her insider trading. I think that's the only reason why she stays in. And you can't, I mean, she would never say she's doing insider trading, but when you know you're on all the committees and she makes less than 200 grand a year, I think, something like that. And she's worth multiple millions. Some funky's going on. There's going to be more change. And I've said this for years. So it's like, we're just in that spot where I said, it's just going to suck for a while till we get there. Like 2024 makes shifts. 2026 makes big shifts. You see the World Health Forum getting into power and being allowed to dictate to various countries. I keep getting shortly for a time being, but it doesn't feel like forever. And we have just a lot of bullies in the world. Honestly, if it's not one, it's the other. For a time, but not forever. Any thoughts on the Kate Middleton end picture? I feel like she might be okay, but I wonder why they're letting this become a bigger issue. So I've said this a while ago that I thought that she has a history of eating disorders, and I felt like she might have run into, especially after a COVID infection, having like gastroparesis. I think I called it gastroschisis, but that's something you're born with, gastroparesis, and needing some kind of involvement there of surgery based on that. I think it's like all the red flags are up, not even psychically, where I'm just like, something's wrong, and that I don't know. I can't fully put my finger on it. I feel like there's some kind of complications that happened with her, but there's an aspect of William that something's not right there either. So when they talk about in December that she got taken away, I think she was taken, like there was an ambulance that showed up. I don't feel like when they're like, oh, there was a domestic violence issue and he totally like hurt her and she's in a coma from him. Like, I don't feel like that's the story. But I don't feel like it was as cut and dry as they're saying it was. Like surgery went well, blah, blah, blah. She's just recovering. There's an aspect of her having had some serious health issues as a result of this. I definitely think they're making something that shouldn't be such a big deal. Like they're definitely making it worse. This is a gigantic PR fumble. And some of that feels like it's coming from the fact that William is so against any sort of press because of what happened to his mother. So he's sort of, this is my wife. This is how we're dealing with it. And I'm not going to address it at all because I don't owe them anything. So he's making it worse by being so obstinate and not wanting to like let anybody else in because I mean, they do have a right to privacy ish, but they could shut people up quicker if they just, did some better PR work. And I definitely don't think she was the person that did that picture. at all. And they said like her staff didn't know about it. So that's why I don't feel like it was a planned surgery. It feels like it was, an emergency issue. I do feel like it connects to having her own, personal stuff. I just think that family's fucked up. Like, I don't know. So do I feel like she'll be okay? Yeah, but I do feel like there's like long-term issues because of this. And then, if she got, which I feel like has like an ostomy bag, and it would be like a ostomy, I think. Having to figure out how to live her life with that. I also get an aspect of like having feeding tube or something like that, because not being able to hold down food, there's something else there. I'm not doing any more personal questions. I'm just doing the general kind of readings right now. So no more readings right now. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. So I don't know. But then like I'm like, oh well, there's all this other stuff. It's like, well, there might be, but I still feel like, what did Corey Bigsby do to his son Cody, and will he ever be found? Who are these people? I want to look at pictures. Just saw the breaking news that Putin won a landslide for his 5th term. Oh, fuck. Yeah, right. That's such a joke. Like, that's so rigged. Come on. Let's see who Cody Bigsby is. I want to look at this picture. Bigsby. Corey Bigsby, and Cody Bigsby. No, that's not how images. He won't be found. I don't feel like he's still alive. I do feel like the dad is at fault. I feel like there was, like, if they had found him, they would have found like multiple fractures at different stages of healing. So it's like it wasn't like a one thing, but I don't think he'll be found. Yeah, it's definitely. So Adam, I mentioned the TikTok. I don't think the TikTok will be banned. So it just feels like a way to control. And it also feels like a way for like Munchin wanted to try and put in a ban or put in a bid for it or something like that. It's like, apparently him and some other people are all kind of connected to the APAC type stuff. So it's all kind of weird, but no, I don't think it'll go through. Will we ever get a student forgiveness program that actually forgives the loan instead of basically deferring it? Yes. And also the way that schooling is, I will say within the next 12 years, I feel like a lot of things are going to be shifted, where there's going to be more free college, where, and if not, like, like apprenticeship training type trades also, and also, there will be actual forgiveness of loans. Okay, Brandon Swanson. I just like looking at pictures because it gives me a better idea. I don't know why. Oh, interesting. My throat hurts with him. Um, oh, his throat hurt. I wonder, they said he thought he drowned. I don't think they'll find him either, to be honest with you. I got the sense of being thrown. I don't know that they'll ever find him. I feel like at this point, and it's something about his throat burning. Like just burning. All right, I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to say goodbye to y'all and go upstairs and get my little girls ready for school tomorrow and dinner and all of that stuff. So I hope you all have a good week, and I will see you next week. It does seem like a strange case, but I don't think they'll ever find him. I feel like I keep feeling like even like with that one little boy, like, I don't know, just like not. You're very welcome. Thank you for supporting me, and I will see you next week. Also, if anybody is interested in a psychic development circle, I did open the circle up. I sent out the email. I know I have a few people that are interested. So if you are, I will be doing circles starting in April. Have a good one. You can click on, there's a link by here. And then there's also if you go to my website, it's under Zoom events. Okay, bye.